What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Yuma Seen, the old YS, with your boy Eric _Castaños. And today it is just me, myself, and I. It is December 3rd, and it is actually exactly 6 o'clock. Today is my mom's birthday, and I had wished my mom a happy birthday. I made her a little card, a little hand-in card, because she loves those. And I was at Sprouts, and I saw a little Whoville tree. And my mom loves Dr. Seuss. My mom and I have bonded over Dr. Seuss our entire lives, and it's a huge inspiration on me. And so I bought her the little Whoville tree, and I left it for her. And of course, my mom, being the person that she is, she loves everything. So you can give my mom a rock, and she'll love it. So just don't go and leave my mom a bunch of rocks on her door, please. That'd be terribly inappropriate. But today I wanted to do a solo podcast. If you guys watched the live, depending on when this comes out, I kind of explained the idea behind this podcast, this episode, and the evolution of I need to breathe for sure. In the evolution of the podcast, and what I wanted to talk about in more of the solo episodes. So, when I started Yuma Seen, the goal was to share stories and have conversations with people who I thought were inspiring. Doesn't need to be creatively, doesn't need to be in the arts, just people I thought were interesting. Like last episode, I had my best friend on, which, him and I have awesome conversations. Well, I think they're awesome. Him and I have interesting conversations on the regular, talking about life, and having him on the podcast was great. That episode with Jose was very fun for me, and it was good. And that was the whole point of Yuma Seen, was to give myself and others the opportunity to have a conversation and share their story. So that's the idea with guests. And with the current state of the world, it's not always possible to do a podcast with people, just for safety reasons and for time, and lately I've been toying with the idea with doing Zoom podcasts. I've been producing Zoom podcasts for other clients, and it works. It works fine. It's just different. It's not as clear as this, but it's the next best thing if you want to have a conversation with somebody. So I apologize for people if this is annoying you, but this helps me monitor this. So and I don't have a guest on, so this works. I got to make sure this is going. But I wanted to maybe try something new for the solo episodes. When I can't get somebody in here. Maybe because my goal was to do one once a week or once every 2 weeks, just try my best to get them out as much as I can. But, sometimes it's really challenging. So, I wanted to try this new concept for the solo episodes. And I, for a little while, I was thinking maybe I can do, more like a news thing where taking the current events around Yuma and sharing them in one podcast, but that would still take some more effort for me to gather that information and do it. And I already have a lot on my plate, so I'm trying to do something, something that would, benefit me and also possibly others. And lately, I've been doing a lot of self-reflection and a lot of, kind of development, without using all those crazy, corny words. But just working on myself. There's a lot of things that I try to deal with mentally without all the boohoo stuff. I just been trying to sorry, I got distracted because there's something that I didn't do on the camera, and now I'm distracted by it. But it is what it is. But there's some stuff that I've been dealing with mentally, and I've been doing a lot of self-reflection, and I've been doing a lot of writing. Writing has been huge. Journaling has been awesome. The podcast with guests is awesome as well, but it's more of a distraction. So having this platform and being able to speak, I thought it could be a good opportunity to A, express myself, and B, spark a conversation with somebody else or an idea. Um, for me, I watch a lot of other podcasts and listen to a lot of other individuals, and a lot of the times the things that inspire me are things that I least expected. People that share personal experiences, and people that share people that share their emotions, and less their emotions, but more of experiences, and not trying to prove a point or inspire, but just share what's going on. And I think for me, I've talked about it with some friends. Excuse me. I talked about it with friends, but being a creative, it can be having a creative career. I'm going to say having a creative career has its challenges, on the ego, for me it does, at least. It can have an effect on your ego. It can have an effect on your mental health, and especially having to deal with social media on the daily. I've talked to this. If you listen to my podcast, you've heard me talk about it a lot, but um I thought with these solo episodes, I can maybe dive a little bit deeper into those things and talk about, a little bit on the insights of like the day in the life of a creative, and speak from that point of view, and not to be like preachy or anything, but just kind of talk about, some things that work for me, and just how I'm navigating it. And maybe this is kind of like a documentation, and a lot of it is an experimentation, but just to talk about it. Lately, one of my biggest struggles is 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 these feelings and these emotions of resentment, and almost like anger. And I don't even know how to explain it, but uh a lot of it has to do, and I feel stems from comparison. My whole creative career, and I would say creative career instead of, life, because a lot of this, comparison, and actually maybe even before that as a kid, I think just as a person, comparison can really take you in a downward spiral if you let it. Because there's a lot of aspects of comparison to the social world, your friends, things of that nature, just comparison in general, that can, if not considered or thought about, it can take you down a negative path, wishing you had what other people had, being resentful that you don't have the same success as others, or even when it comes down to material things or experiences that other people are having. I think it's easy. I don't know. For me, that happens from time to time, and because, and it can be, it's a challenge that I face, and more than I would like to admit, but it happens. Especially with people with gear, and a lot of that stuff, and a lot of, and I don't want to, it's hard to like pinpoint just one thing, but just the concept of comparison is something that I deal with, is a mental thing that I deal with on the regular. I don't like to admit that. It's not great for me to admit, because it's a very vulnerable part of me, and it's complicated to talk about because it's hard for even me to understand. And 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 but I think, I've been able to understand it more, and things that have been helping me a lot are journaling, just to get these thoughts out of my head into paper, and understanding them over time, letting time be a tool in the understanding and healing process, but also knowledge. Something that had helped me a lot was Jordan Peterson, his podcast, his books, The 12 Rules for Life, was a very influential, and it was very helpful for me, because it gave me physical tools to work on in the real world. Reading that book, it helped give my brain and my mind a goal and something to work towards. The last couple of days, I was really dealing with feelings of anger and resentment, and I wasn't healthy mentally. And it happens, it comes and goes, because being an individual and being a human being, shit happens and feelings just come. But a lot of managing that is accepting it, trying to understand it, and really letting it go. But for me, I don't know what it is about my brain, but I go down every pathway and I let it just consume me and pull me, and I get angry and I get resentful, and really a lot of it, most of it, probably all of it, is things in my head, and I create these unexisting scenarios in my head, and I end up angry, and I'm like, what is wrong with me? So lately I've been spending a lot of time to myself just to figure my own mental, just to figure out my own mental self. And and I've been spending a lot of time in the studio and a lot of time to myself, which has really helped me reflect and really think about, what's going on in my life and my thoughts and what's going on. And, one thing that has always helped me get in the right direction is just knowledge. So reading books. I'm a big ebook person. I have a weird habit of falling asleep when I read books, but ebooks are awesome. And so I just went back in and I started playing the 12 Rules for Life book. I started playing the 12 Rules for Life book, and ironically, the chapter that popped up, and no bullshit, excuse me, the chapter that popped up was compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not who somebody else is today, which I thought was crazy, and life has a weird way of timing itself out, but it was a good one for me, and it was what I needed to hear. And it's that work that I have to also do to keep my sanity. And sometimes I feel like I sound like a whiny bitch sometimes, but I had to let that stuff go because this is kind of just who I am. Everybody has their complications and their struggles, and mine is just I'm very emotional. I can't help it. Like things bother me really easily, and I'm trying to. And stuff like this is an effort to be better about it. It's almost like putting myself on blast. So, this is an effort to try to better myself, honestly. So, and especially because, my work is involved in like social media in this world of, creativity and when it's also your business, you also have to compare not your work or your value to the market, but understanding where the market's at and, trying to provide a value. It can kind of get tricky, but, just trying to manage these emotions is something that is important for me so I can do my best work and also have the best relationships with individuals around me. My girlfriend, my parents, my family, my friends, otherwise you just walk around like this Grinch of a person, and I don't want to be that. So, being a creative can sometimes test your ego and test your morals and who you are as a person, which is also very positive. As I was re-listening to this chapter of Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life, and comparing yourself to who you were yesterday rather than other people today was huge, and exactly what I wanted to hear, and oddly enough was exactly what I needed to hear, and it immediately set me straight and focused me on a different mindset, because one thing that he was talking about in this chapter was this effort towards aim, and how aim, and I could be butchering this, there's people so much smarter than me that probably listen to this, and I apologize because I suck at explaining things and my memory's ass. But the gist of, what I was understanding was that he was talking about this concept of aim and how the things that you aim towards and the things that you look towards is your focus, and things can easily get put to the wayside when your focused is juxtaposed on this and is fixed on this one thing, not juxtaposed, fixed on this one thing. And that's not necessarily a negative thing, but you got to understand that some things are to give. And and it's a balance act. And sometimes, when you're too focused on work, your personal life slips, or when, vice versa. And this balancing act is a big one. And for me, focusing, giving the attention to focus, giving the time and attention to focus on my mental health is something that is important, because lately I've just been walking around like a person that I don't really even enjoy being around. So I can imagine other people don't want to be around me either. So, you know, and all of this has to do with, you know, putting out, being able to be the best person I can be, and then that directly translates to better work and better expression. And I never liked this. I never liked the term artist, and for me, like, other people love to be called an artist, and that's awesome for them. But I've had people call me an artist and things of that nature, but I've never, it always just seemed kind of, what's the word? Vain, I think. I don't know. It just never sat well. It kind of almost seemed, calling yourself an artist kind of seems braggy, but there's a lot of things that involve, there's parts of being a creative that involve artistry. And God, I'm just burpy today. It's probably the Zevia. Sorry, guys. This is kind of a shit show of a potty, but we're trying. But sorry. But I forgot what I was talking about. Damn it. Oh, shit happens. Shit happens. I think I put a lot of pressure on myself on these podcasts and just in general, and when I should really just be grateful for some shit. And that was okay. That's actually a good little segue. Maybe I should need to take a breath. But one thing I wrote in my notes before doing this podcast was an inspiration for doing this solo podcast. I thought an idea could be to talk about also not only the things that I expressed already, but also this idea of gratitude. And it all comes from the same thing. When I start to take stock into the things that mean a lot to me, and when I can appreciate the things that I have right now, and being happy with them, and striving to want more, but also being okay with the things that you have now is big for me, because it is directly in part with the whole comparison model. Because for instance scenario, sometimes I can get resentful, and I can get resentful by looking on Instagram, and I see something, and I get jealous, and I get angry of things that I don't have, or experiences I'm not having, and I have to ask myself, why do I feel that way? And and I'm comparing my life to these other people, when really, I'm not doing myself any service or any justice, or these are my friends, or people that I see online, because I don't know this people's situation. I don't know if these people have been cooped up for, months, and they finally get to go out, and this is the best time. And here I am with my negative attitude, just upset because I don't have these things or having these experiences, Instead, I should be happy for people. And I'm not saying I'm an angry person like this all the time. It's just lately. But, when I compare myself to these people that I see, or even, have conversations with that, have certain things, instead of comparing myself, and, instead of, I should be happy for these people, and also not compare myself to them. And, because I'm not them, I'm not them. I don't know what people did to earn certain things, or people's certain situations. And, and in that same vein, to be appreciative of the things that I have, and to be grateful for the things that I have. And if I want certain things, to fixate my goals on those things, and readjust, or understand that maybe that isn't a thing that I need. I just maybe see how happy these people are, and maybe I think that I should need them, but maybe that's not always the case. Especially like on the vein of like equipment, I can do that really easily for me because, especially in our field of work, there's always a new camera, there's always a new lens, there's always more gear, there's always more lights, there's always shit like that you can get. And instead of being like angry that I don't have those things, just being fortunate for how far I've come already and knowing how much I've been able to do with just the little things that I've had and being appreciative of that. And if I need more things and if I want them, then to work towards them, but not be upset at the outside world for having more than I have, because that's a very immature attitude to have. And I understand that about myself. And I think that's the growth that I'm starting to understand about myself. And because I'm young as shit. I'm like 27 years old. There's a lot of things I need to still figure out. And I'm not lying about any of that shit at all. I understand that I'm a very complicated human being, and I'm very, like I mentioned earlier, I'm a very emotional human being, and there's a lot of shit that I need to work on. And I have a lot of friends that I assume they hold themselves really good and they're solid human beings, I feel, and have it way more figured out than I. I compliment Jared all the time for always being so cool-headed and handling situations very well. And, I admire him for that, but I'm just sometimes not that guy. And sometimes I can, I let shit bother me and I let shit linger, and, that's my issue. But these are the sort of things that I need, that I've been doing as of lately to help me kind of navigate out. And a big thing for me, has been excuse me. A big thing for me has been education. Education is huge for me. And that means reading and talking to people, your friends and your loved ones, and just gaining a new perspective is huge. And learning from people who, have a better understanding on life than you do. I think it's foolish to think that you know everything, and I think it's foolish to think that, a lot of the times you're right. So yeah, reading and listening to these books and podcasts has been huge for me and has helped me navigate these challenging emotions. So I've been very fortunate of technology like that, and thankful to have friends and that, friends and people that give me space when I need it. So to figure this stuff out, and also journaling has been huge. I'm a huge proponent of journaling. I'm not going to tell people to do it if they don't want to, but if you're struggling with some, mental hurdles, journaling is a huge therapeutic, is huge, and it's therapeutic, and it's nice for the mental to just get some shit out of your brain and just work some thoughts out, because getting them stuck in your head doesn't do anybody good, doesn't do yourself good. You don't do yourself justice or others around you. So, let me see. What else did I want to talk about? I wanted to take a little bit of time just to show gratitude towards people and things that have happened in this last year, especially, because without these experiences and these people, I wouldn't have learned, or done all the things that I've done. And I don't know if I'm necessarily going to like call names out or anything, but I really don't know how I was going to do this. And maybe this is a sad part of the podcast, sad as in lame, but maybe I just, maybe it's more of understanding and being grateful for that, the effort towards gratitude, understanding the things and the people, the things that have happened to you, and the people that have come into your life, and either the conversations or the things that people said, and being grateful for those things, and understanding that, good or bad, the things that have happened to you are all things that develop you into being the person who you are now. Joe Umbrello, really good friend of mine, one thing that he told me that really stuck was nothing's, situations, I don't know if he said situations or things aren't good or bad. Situations aren't good or bad. There's, it's not healthy to think about. It's not, how do I see it? Here's the thing. I'll just say it. it's better to think things are healthy or unhealthy, or situations are healthy or unhealthy, rather than good or bad. Because, and Jose and I talked about this in the last podcast, you know, experiences are kind of only bad if you don't learn from them, because you can mentally put yourself in this state of bad if you don't uh learn from them. So they can seem bad. Things that happen to you can seem bad if you don't learn from them. If you don't switch your perspective, if you don't switch your aim, if you don't readjust your focus to think about a situation or people in a different way. So, you know, and I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but life is challenging. Life is hard. And in the words of Jordan Peterson, life is suffering. And that's one thing that is inevitable about life is suffering. But life is suffering life is suffering, not saying it's like doom and gloom, but he says that because the reason why Jordan Peterson expresses life is suffering is because what he's saying is there's always going to be challenges in your life. That's what he means by life is suffering. There's always going to be something that happens to you. That's how life is. Somebody's going to get sick. You're going to get sick. You're going to get broke. You're going to get fired. You know, somebody passes away. Something's always going to happen. Nobody's life is perfect. Things happen. Breakups, you know, heartbreak, you name it. Things happen. So let me reset this. Bam. Things happen. So, you know, I really like that he said that, because, you know, life is always going to have its challenges. So it's important to understand that and to show gratitude towards things and be grateful for the things that you have, because, you know, understand that, especially right now, I think people are having a better understanding of gratitude, because we got a lot of things kind of ripped away from us in a very vicious way. That's kind of a gnarly way to explain it, but we got a lot of things ripped away from us. A lot of experiences, a lot of things that we enjoyed, you know, people. Unfortunately, some people have lost loved ones, and my heart goes out to those people. There's experiences that, you know, that aren't the same, like, you know, concerts and large gatherings, and, you know, life isn't the same anymore, but we have to be grateful for the things and the people and stuff that we do have right now. And so, you know, my efforts toward this podcast, this episode, you know, although this might be a left turn for people that listen to this, but I think it's important for me, in order to deliver the best expression, whether if it be, you know, from this podcast or, you know, my podcast with guests, is to be, you know, is to talk about these things, because part of Yuma Seen is my perspective as well, you know, and also my perspective on Yuma Seen is the way, you know, I'm living in this environment. And maybe that's a justification for this podcast. I don't know, but that's maybe, who knows? But like I was talking about in the pre-podcast, I thought it'd be, you know, it's an idea to try. This could be a one-timer, and maybe this podcast is, like I said, a one-time thing, and or maybe it can be a continuation. You know, it doesn't always have to be, you know, like this whole mental gymnastics, but, you know, this can be something that I do on my solo episodes. Maybe I take a topic and just riff on it, and it doesn't always have to be like funny, but it just be a conversation piece, because anybody that really knows me knows that I really enjoy philosophy. I really enjoy talking about the mind, and I really I just like this. I like talking about this puzzle piece, this puzzle that we call life. I enjoy talking about experiences and how people navigate these things, and, you know, and so maybe this is just a deviation from conversations that I have with others. So, you know, if you liked it, then that's awesome. I appreciate it. You know, I'm gonna go back as I edit it and listen to it and see what I think. You know, that's just me being fully transparent. But you know, this last 33 minutes has been fun. I really enjoy podcasts. Like I've said many times, I love doing these things. Doing them with others is even more enjoyable, because you can share the experience with others. And I love having conversations. I love opening the minds of others and understanding how people think, and sharing ideas and collaborating on an experience. So maybe this is still the same thing, but leaving it open ended. So I appreciate you guys for sticking in here with me. I didn't mean to make this like a pity party or anything, or to sound like a whiny bitch, but this is life. This is my life, and this is how I experience it. And this is just a documentation of how I've been navigating through it. So take it how you want. Don't really give a shit, but I'm just trying my best at this thing that we call the Vita. Like I said, thank you everybody who listens and supports this podcast. If you don't, all good. Wish you well. This is just my efforts to try to navigate this thing. If anybody has a suggestion on, further knowledge or further actions that help you. I know yoga's a big one for a lot of people. Things that help other people. Let me know. Send me a DM, drop them in the comments. Let me know what helps you guys. I want to know what are the things that you guys do to better your mental health, your health. Mental health. This is more like a mental health thing. So I'll say it again, just so I can make a snippet out of it. So thank you guys for listening to this episode. I appreciate everybody who listens and shares this and continues to listen to this podcast. So if any of you guys out there, if there's something that you do if there's any actions or if there's anything that you do that you enjoy that helps your mental health, let me know. Send me a DM about it. Comment below, comment on YouTube, whatever you got to do, share it with me. I want to know what you guys do in the audience that you do to keep your mental health in check. So that'd be awesome. I would like to know what other people do. Because everybody's different. Everybody has different life circumstances, and the best way to learn is through other people's experiences. Another book that really helped me that I just read is called Green Lights by Matthew Mcconaughey. My hair is fully inspired by Matthew Mcconaughey. I'm trying to grow it out just like him because he's rad. But Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey was a really good book. It's a autobiography. It's a book about himself, and he talks about his whole life and his life experiences, and he labels these positive experiences as green lights, and it's a really, really fun book, and it's not preachy at all. It's just a fun book, and he reads it, and it's just a fun book to listen to, and I had a really good time actually listening to it. It was awesome. So, and actually what's weird is when I write now, I write with Matthew McConaughey's voice in my head. So I almost write to his cadence, which is retarded, but which is not retarded. That's rude, but it's funny, and it's a little silly how I do that. But that's a good book. Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life. The 4 Agreements is a good book that helped me a lot. And Jordan Peterson's actually coming out with a new book. It's the yang to the yin of 12 Rules for Life. The book is actually black because the first one is white, and Jordan Peterson's really big on this yin yang thing. I would get a yin yang tattoo if it wasn't so corny, but maybe I can find an inspiration on the yin yang because it's a balance thing. So that's also why I like Ruka a lot, because Ruka plays on this whole balance of opposites things, which is really sick. But I digress. But it's a really good book. Those are some things that really helped me a lot. So I digress. Thank you guys. I appreciate you guys for listening to this very emotional podcast. But when you guys listen to this and you guys, I don't do it for engagement, but when people engage and people share and like, or even just, engage with it, I appreciate it a lot, and it helps me, and it makes me feel good. And I try not to hang on and clip onto those things, but what I'm trying to say is I appreciate them. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Yuma Seen. I'm outie. And bye from Baby Yoda. Say what's up to the people, Grogu.